session back in order at 6:43, and ask for a motion to approve the amendments passed over. Would somebody make that motion?
Also move.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of pending correction. Do I hear any corrections to the minutes?
Welcome guest Cherokee representative. And I get to sign this.
Autocorrect. Any others?
After council members go through these, if you have a correction, please voice it.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but on page, before we get to new business, the if, 2 lines from new business, is it all caps and just right there, so it's not a big mistake, it's just just for appearance.
Do I hear further corrections? You done, council?
She's gone.
Oh, yes, that's fine. I was looking at other matters, Chief, I apologize.
If there's no further corrections, all in favor of approval of the minutes
Second. Same thing.
as corrected, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions. The minutes are approved as corrected. Curtis, could you, we've got several tribal reports enclosed here, but let's let Curtis give us an overview of them.
Thank you, Chief. Your council package should have the departmental reports from everyone. Hope you've had a chance to look over the reports, including mine, just to highlight some of the things that I've been involved in, which is providing a lot of support to our different departments. First of all, working with a personnel committee, I do want to recognize for the record the fact that we did place our administrative assistant to the chief and tribal council, Dana Merle, who is here tonight, along with Jamie Felix, who is serving as our receptionist. We have moved that function, as you know, up here to the lobby area of the community center building. After this meeting and throughout this week, I'll be working with them to begin the planning process, including the net costs for changing the address, getting all of our mail, email, telephone functions moved up here and handled here at the community center building. And also want to recognize Mary Young, who goes by the name Lucy, is in our dishwasher and as a kitchen assistant. She's on our Delaware tribal roll. Tonight I hope the tribal council does approve the resolution acknowledging the action you took at your last meeting, changing or establishing rather a tribal minimum wage of $8.50, which we put into the personnel policies. But your resolution tonight will make it a tribal act.
Curtis, could you have Dana stand up so that...
Oh, certainly. Dana Merle. Dana, if you would stand up for everyone here. She is a member of the Osage Nation, and then also we've been working with Jamie Felix, who is a member of Cherokee Nation, and she is on board with us now as our receptionist. So we're pleased to have them. They've been scurrying around and getting a first taste of working together, presenting these tribal council packets and getting ready for our meetings. And they're also aware that we have a trust board meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so we'll get all of that ready to go. Again, taking care of a lot of those communication functions in support of the tribal council and the trust board is of utmost importance with the guidance and direction of all of you. I know they've been working closely every day, and I've been trying to provide the guidance, support, and coaching, and I hope it improves. I don't think it's been too bad to start with, but I certainly hope it improves as we go along and it starts working really smoothly. There's a lot of growth and projects that are brewing, as we heard from our last report, and we do have to provide that administrative support. In addition, there's operational support around here. It's interesting that the tribal council kind of set up a policy that said if the local schools are closed, that we would cancel the lunch program so that the elders wouldn't have to get out and drive around in bad weather just to come in for lunch. Sure enough, the next day after we did that, it came a big snowstorm, and we did it to perfection. The staff came in and worked, yet we canceled the lunch program, and put Archie to work doing 1,000 other things in the kitchen that needed to get done, so we didn't waste that effort at all. Program support, I continue to work with our accounting department on our aid to tribal government contract, and we are using the new startup funds to acquire the new accounting software and the human resources software that contract will be paying for. So we're in the middle of the procurement of that software and hardware, and we'll go through the necessary training to implement all of that, working closely with the accounting department to get that done. Again, under other matters regarding supporting our tribal departments, working with the housing department, Chief, I know we've got something that we just put in, or we're putting into the Delaware Indian News, and by the way, that's another thing. I hope you know that I did notify the staff to get their reports and their reports that are configured for the Delaware Indian News. The deadline is passed. We are, I believe, looking forward to an on-time April 1st issue of the Delaware Indian News. One of the things we're pleased with is that Director Ron Scott from Housing, Chief Brooks and I went over to the Boys and Girls Club of Chelsea just last week, and we made a donation to the Boys and Girls Club it's an old used riding mower, but we cleaned it up and it's got some life to it, and we donated it to them so that they could do their own lawn mowing. But just the fact, Chief, if I may speak on what happened at that meeting, they kind of felt like they were forgotten by the Delaware tribe, and we do have a considerable investment in Chelsea, and not only in our housing, but our commitment to the Boys and Girls Club. And by virtue of us going over there, attending their board meeting, talking to them, making this little donation, and renewing our commitment as a tribe to the Boys and Girls Club of Chelsea, and which is housed inside the Lewis B. Ketchum Youth Sports Center, it really brightened up their attitude, and they felt like, I think their term was, you guys have really raised the bar again on the tribe's involvement with the Boys and Girls Club. And they do have a lot of kids there. They've got an average monthly membership of 175 kids, and they've got an average daily attendance of kids from the first graders all the way up to high school age kids of 75, to the point where they have a whole bunch of different programs, from little kids playing basketball all the way to more tutoring, and they're dealing with modern issues, you know, bullying in schools and in the social media, and so, you know, they've got people coming in and working with them. So it was a good visit for us to go to the Boys and Girls Club. And I offer at any time, Ron or I, or both of us, would be glad to take some of you newer council members, if you'd like, we'll go visit and meet some of the folks over there, take a look at our tribal housing.
And I think there's at least probably the four of us new people who would like to do that.
Sure. We'll set that up, and I'll make sure that the club directors are ready.
Could I ask, have they got the roof fixed and some of the bad problems fixed over there?
Correct, and I will say some of that is due to a considerable donation from the Ketchum family to provide some of the physical repairs and that to the building, along with some fundraising they've done through, it's a great organization, really is, the Pocahontas Club.
Pocahontas Club has done
They've
quite a
done some
lot.
really good work over there. And I noticed some improvements compared to a year ago when we went over to that stomp dance. Our annual contribution from our Indian Housing Block Grant really goes to paying for the staff, the overhead costs, and some of the program costs, and that. But it's other donations and fundraising that they do that has been really important. And I believe next week, let's see, this is the 17th? Yeah, I think Monday is when they go to that meeting in New Mexico, that we agreed last meeting that we would provide a $200 registration fee to help support the president of the board of directors and the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club to go to that national conference. I did attend just yesterday, and I know you're going to talk about this, but the grant writing workshop, which I thought was a wonderful start to addressing some of the needs in writing grant proposals, and but that's, as we know, that this is a process, not an event. So it's the start of something that's going to be going on for quite some time here.
Are we meeting next Monday? Well, it's on the calendar for every Monday from here on out, if you look at the calendar. Yeah, so that's why I thought I'd ask.
I think that was an error. It was just that one meeting, and then we meet again in April to develop our strategic
Okay,
plan.
okay.
And then
I tried to change that, but I think you probably have to go in and adjust that on the calendar.
Okay, we'll take care of it.
Could I say something right now? I don't get that calendar. I'm not.
Johnny, did you set her up on the
I
calendar?
looked up, Johnny, to that calendar.
Okay.
Today, I realized I wasn't because I saw this notice came up, some notice came up that something about the calendar, about the meeting yesterday. I was out of town, and I thought, I bet that was on that calendar that I don't know how to get to.
Okay.
So we'll work on that, all right.
We'll make sure you're operational on that.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation right before this meeting. I've given you some reports on kind of where I am with information on stocking the pond with fish. I'm going to share that information with Joe Brooks, and hopefully he and I can work together on some recommendations that we would bring back to the council, since he was the one that initiated that matter. But I have done some outreach with the State Wildlife Department, and I've got some options. But the more we open it up, we should cover our liability if others are going to be, you know, if it becomes public access. But we'll think about these things before we agree to do it and get the council approval on that. I also did a bid, a price quote on security cameras for all of our buildings, including Caney, Kansas. It came in pretty high, and I think for now, the direction and guidance I've received and I'm getting started on is to maybe not get into a full-fledged, very expensive security coverage, but we'll just take care of this building for now, and I think I could do it a lot less money and still accomplish what our purpose is to provide security coverage at all of the doorways, entrances, where we have some of our property in the back, and you know, just to make sure that we're safe and that our entryways are covered at all times, just as the child care is.
Curtis, I normally don't step out that east door where the smokers go out, but I stepped out to talk to Chad and Nate a little while ago before the meeting started, and there's a big pile of rubble back there, which is mattresses, I don't know what else. Nate walked out there to look at it. That's an eyesore.
I'm aware of that, and all of that was gathered up and pushed over there, and then we had all of the snowstorms. So I haven't had part two of the guys coming back and hauling off all of the solid waste that can't be burned, and everything else is that's wood. We're going to go over and get a temporary permit to burn and burn the rest of it off. So
Okay.
I'm not going to leave it sitting there.
I mean, I don't know if you can see it from over there on that road, but looking out our door, it's unappealing.
Yes, ma'am. I want to get rid of it as quickly as possible
Right.
too. I've been actually, and which leads me into my reminder in my report that is representative. I'm putting out for bid lawn mowing, brush hogging, tree limb removal, all of the stuff on this 80-acre campus, the Caney building. That's going out for bid, and I'm getting some quotes on taking care of the property in Lawrence around the house, the lawn mowing. That's a much smaller job. Now our housing guys have already stated they're going to take care of the lawn mowing at the lodges, and they'll take care of our entire housing complex in Chelsea. They're able to do that with the equipment that they've got, but with the amount of work that we have right now taking care of houses and the apartments, we're better off letting somebody come in with their own equipment and just with a contract take care of the mowing and the maintenance around here.
And does that include the elder housing as well?
Elder housing and child care. Child care, we're going to split some of the costs, and we're going to be in compliance with, you know, all of the mowing and stuff around all the playgrounds. That's going to have to be done on a weekend or after hours, not with the presence of kids. And then we're all aware that they're going to be constructing this building over here on the south side, so that's going to affect.
Do you know when that'll start? She said March, but we're at the 17th.
Yeah, I don't see them breaking ground until sometime next month. I did
Okay.
not get a chance to review the details of the policy.
I don't know, I saw that
I'm sorry,
meeting that
report.
you and Chet and I had with her
Right.
2 months ago. She said it would be, they'd break ground in March.
Well, I have not received any messages that says that that's going to happen. I don't see a groundbreaking until next month.
I've
I
never
think-
seen any surveying or
Right.
anything.
You all will be involved in that, though. You'll be prepared to have a hard hat and a shovel in your hand for the pictures when we do the groundbreaking on that building, and which will probably push the completion back. Well, honestly, I don't see it getting done until probably December.
Right, she said October, but I was telling everybody we'd probably reclaim that space around the first of the year.
I'm going to have a department head staff meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. to follow up on the outcome of this meeting, but also just to, you know, I get input and make sure that all the department heads, we talk to each other so that we're supporting each other with our different departments, especially when we're dealing with social services where multiple departments may be serving the same clients. By the way, I continue to get scant but positive responses from the folks, meaning I just got one other email back from Carl Rich with child support people, but they're saying, you know, we gave all that information to Washington DC and we're still waiting to hear from them, but it gives us hope that we haven't lost that grant. So I'm hoping to hear something. I welcome you as the tribal leaders to also reach out and contact them. And I think this is one of those situations where we have to play the squeaky wheel, Chief, just to make sure we don't get lost in the vast number of programs that are going on out in Indian country. There are a couple of, I put in my report, and I just wanted to put it on your radar screen, to working through your administrative assistant to kind of touch base with United Indian Nations in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, and the American Indian Chamber of Commerce of Oklahoma, maybe get updates on who they should be contacting and consider renewing memberships and
Yes.
attendance at these.
Absolutely.
And other than that, I'm working with Mike Taylor, our HR director, to effect some more staff training in both the Microsoft Office suite of programs like Word and Excel and PowerPoint, and then also using Outlook, which is our sending out our emails, calendars, and other functions that we use to get in touch with all of our various, not just departments, but our various locations elsewhere, like Chelsea, Caney, Lawrence, etc. So that quickly, I know you like quick reports from me. There,
That doesn't happen.
that, ma'am,
I said it doesn't happen. I'm just pulling your leg here, Curtis.
I welcome your comments or questions.
He has lots to talk about.
Are there questions?
Nancy's got a question.
Nancy?
Yeah, I know I missed last council meeting, got to do the signals, but I was wondering to know what the status is, if you have any information yet on maybe purchasing a sign like they use in churches that give messages, flash messages out as far as our activities go and what's happening and what we can post out here on the big sign or whatever. Have you guys looked into that yet?
No.
Curtis, that was something that I think Susan and Nancy and I had a conversation about, and I've done some checking, Nancy, and it's extremely pricey.
Valley Money, put a Delaware sign out there?
I don't know what that costs, but I know that
I'm just curious.
well, because if you want it to where you can change it out, it is a lot more expensive, and hopefully, I'm hoping in the next year, we're gonna have some revenue coming in, and we'll have money to do these things that we haven't been able to do. But I'll work with Curtis and fill him in on what I found out.
Okay. I would just want to know what the status was.
You know, what, I was wondering, we used to have one right in this room that had announcements and things on it, didn't we? It was just on the wall?
It was on that TV screen which the lightning blew out.
Right.
Oh, so we just don't have it
But
because it's an
they're talking about a sign out on the road, so if you've got a garage sale, if you've got a fry bread dinner, if you've got a stomp dance, you put it out there. It's not for the people in this room, it's for the public.
Right, I understood that, but I just thought maybe if we had one inside too, it would help for the people that were going to be coming to those events. Because most of the public that goes by there aren't going to be attending, you know, so they're.
I welcome these ideas. I will do my best at the direction of the council, but I will also say this. We're going to have to pull out the financials and find out where the money's going to come from first. And I will say,
Table it.
Nancy, for your response to something you brought up a while back, I've been waiting for the weather to clear. It looks like winter is, I think, just about over, but we're all set to go with repainting all of the handicap areas out here. We've got the stencils, the big blue stencils. We've got all the paint. We've got people ready to go. I was just waiting for the right weather, and I think we're just about there. So I've not forgotten about that.
She hadn't asked that, I was surprised.
Thank you, Curtis.
Are there,
Thank you.
are there further questions?
Oh, they called me.
Is that it, Chief?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Curtis.
Curtis. Are there other tribal reports?
The one I was thinking about was the training, the progeny training for our enrollment department. That she had asked about that in her report, which it was very beneficial the last time they went to that. I think it was 2 years ago, wasn't it, when Chris and Leslie went to progeny training?
Yes, ma'am. I will tell you this, and again, we have to look at this aid to tribal government budget, which primarily funds that entire department. And I did talk with Gene about it, and we regret, we just don't have the funds to be able to send them
Okay.
for a week training in California. I think there's other ways of getting training, but it may not involve travel,
Okay.
which is
Well, I agree
pretty
with you
significant.
completely. We have to live within a budget.
But I will say that compared to 2 years ago, and some of the improvements that this tribal council directed be done, I would like to think, and I do believe, that our enrollment department productivity and performance has improved
It has.
since it became an issue a while back.
But I would bet there's webinars and things that they could go online and do.
Correct.
Well, I think progeny itself provides training. If you, if you have any questions, you can just call them up and they'll help you.
There is some direct support that is at a fee.
If we need to subscribe to it, maybe.
Right. And where there is a true need, but then there's also, there are other tribes that are using progeny.
Yes,
I have
it's
encouraged our staff
to interface.
to make friends with and develop a collegial relationship with people that are doing the same thing with the same program or software at another tribe, and kind of get,
Absolutely.
so share some information.
Well, and works both ways. They pick up ideas from our group too, our staff over there. I think if they network, we try to encourage that, when we.
I did address that though, and I'm not cutting people off just
Yeah.
arbitrarily. It did have to do with finances.
Okay, thanks, because I didn't know what the finances were.
If there's no further tribal reports, we do have on the agenda a discussion on the tribal seal and an ordinance concerning that tribal seal. Would you care to lead that, Michelle? Either way.
This was the ordinance that we had, this was the ordinance that we
You're gonna have
had
to do it.
presented last month. And there were some issues. Can you guys hear me?
No, you gotta get right on it. Like, look here, this is,
Okay, thank you. But this is the ordinance regarding, that we discussed a month ago regarding our tribal seal protection. And I basically put in the inserts of the seal descriptive, which you all should have. There was copies available to review. If everybody would like to look over that descriptive at this time and offer any suggestions.
did we put copies on?
Yes.
We do wish to vote on this ordinance tonight.
We do.
And as I understand it, we are going to apply for tribal trademark.
Yeah, I think the tribal trademark's your next pass in it.
This is the first step that we're taking in order to protect our seal. And once we pass this ordinance, then we will move further in trademarking our seal.
Nancy's got her hand up.
Nancy?
This is for protection of the seal for for misuse, right? In
Yes.
other words. Okay, but as far as any registered Delaware Indian can use this like for beating for their road or whatever, they can still use this seal?
Absolutely. And that is actually stated in that ordinance.
Well, I haven't had time to read it.
Okay, but you can't use it like you're representing the tribe,
Oh, okay.
and that's what's happened. Or other Delaware tribes out east have tried to use the seal.
It's quite wrong.
All right, we'll go ahead and read it. Delaware Tribe of Indians Tribal Seal Protection Ordinance. General provisions under Section 1. Authority and purpose. Authority. The Tribal Council, which is the supreme governing body of the Delaware Tribe of Indians, hereinafter the tribe, hereby amends, adopts, and implements this Tribal Seal Protection Ordinance, hereafter referred to as the ordinance, pursuant to Article 5 of the Constitution and bylaws of the Delaware Tribe of Indians, hereinafter referred to as the Constitution. B, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to, 1, identify the tribal seal of the Delaware Tribe of Indians, hereafter referred to as the tribal seal. Number 2, set forth authorized uses of the tribal seal. And 3, provide a procedure under tribal law for the authorization of acceptable uses of the tribal seal. Under 1.2, interpretation and implementation. Construction. The effectiveness and enforceability of the ordinance shall not be dependent upon the adoption of any regulations unless otherwise required by law. B, severability. If any section of the ordinance or any part thereof, or any application thereof to any party, person, or entity, or in any circumstance shall be held invalid for any reason whatsoever by the Delaware Tribal District Court, hereafter referred to as the Tribal Court, or any court to which appeals therefrom may be taken. The remainder of the section or part of the ordinance shall be effected and shall remain in full force and effect as though no section or part has been declared to be invalid. Statement of supersedure and governance. This ordinance supersedes any and all policies, rules, and/or regulations regarding its subject matter. In the event of a conflict between this ordinance and the Constitution, the terms of the Constitution shall supersede and control such a conflict. The effective date. This ordinance shall become effective upon adoption by a quorum of the Tribal Council pursuant to the legislative process. Amendments. This ordinance may be amended by the Tribal Council in accordance with the Constitution and any rules set forth governing amendment of laws of the tribe. Section 1.3, sovereign immunity. The tribe specifically retain all government immunities associated with its sovereign status, including its immunity from unconsented suit. The tribe's subsidiaries, employees, and agents shall share in its sovereign immunity from the suit. The tribe does not waive its sovereign immunity in any respect, and this ordinance shall not be construed as such a waiver. Now the official seal under Section 2. The tribe shall have a seal, which shall be the official seal of the government of the Delaware Tribe of Indians. The description. The seal of the tribe shall be a circular landscape comprised of the missing in the center of the seal, left half red in color, right half black in color, with a cross on the left side in white color, and a fire drill on the right side in white color. Centered below the missing are the symbols of the 3 clans of the Delaware Tribe of Indians. From left to right, a wolf paw print, a turtle, and a turkey talon, with all 3 in red colors. Symbols representing the prayer sticks encircle the symbols described above. The outermost border of the circular seal to the top and in the black script reads, Delaware Tribe of Indians. The outermost border of the circular seal to the bottom and in black script reads Lenape. Graphical representation under section 2.3. The following is a graphical representation of the seal in full color. And then we have the graphic. Meaning of the seal. The missing face is the center of the seal, is the keeper of the game animals on which the Lenape depended for food. The face was carved on the center post of the big house church, or the Hinguicaun, a wooden structure which held the tribe's historic religious ceremony. Clan symbols represent the three clans of the Lenape: turtle, wolf, and turkey. The fire drill next to the missing face is used to build the ceremonial fires. Prayer sticks surround the outer edge of the seal and represent the 12 prayer sticks that were used in the big house church. The Christian cross represents those Lenape who accepted Christianity. Under 2.5, original seal. The original rendition of the tribal seal shall remain at the seat of the tribal government at the office of the Secretary of the Tribal Council and shall not be removed without the proper written authorization of the Tribal Council. Consistency of the tribal seal. The tribal seal shall not be altered, manipulated, edited, or redesigned in any way, including but not limited to the proportions, colors, or elements of the tribal seal unless authorized by the resolution of the Tribal Council. The tribal seal as a whole may be reduced or enlarged, provided that it maintains in proportions, colors, and elements. No mark, insignia, letter, word, figure, design, picture, or drawing of any nature shall be placed upon any part of the tribal seal. Section 3, limitations on the use of the tribal seal. General. Unless otherwise permitted by this ordinance, the tribal seal shall not be used unless such use has been specifically authorized by resolution of the Tribal Council. All requests for a license to use the tribal seal shall be in writing on a form supplied by the tribe and addressed to the tribal secretary. The tribe may assess a fee to cover costs of processing the application. The Secretary of the Tribal Council shall maintain a record of such requests and of the Tribal Council's response to each request. If the Tribal Council approves the request, the written approval shall state the type of the use, the time period for which the use is granted, and any royalty to be paid to the tribe in connection with the permitted use of the tribal seal. Prohibition uses of the tribal seal. No facilities, faxes, reproduction or impressions of the tribal seal with or without the wording associated with the tribal seal shall be used in any private communications or documents, including but not limited to private communications by employees of the tribal government, stationery, envelopes, faxes, and electronic documents which are unconnected with authorized officials, functions, or communications of the tribe. No person shall use any reproduction of the tribal seal in any manner falsely implying official endorsement or sponsorship by the tribe or any of its tribal administration of any candidate for political office, product, business, service, or other activity, or in any manner that subjects the tribe to harm or embarrassment. Use in connection with a subdivision or enterprises of the tribal government. The tribal seal, including duly adopted variations of the tribal seal, may be used in connection with the documents and the communications of any subdivision or enterprise of the tribal government, providing such document, correspondence, or communication clearly identifies the identity of the subdivision or enterprise, and such correspondence or communication is authorized by the governing body or officials of such subdivision or enterprise. Commercial use of the tribal seal or like productions. Use in connection with official functions or enterprises of the tribe. No faxes, reproductions, or impressions of the tribal seal with or without the wording associated with the tribal seal shall be used in connection with the sale of merchandise or for any other commercial purpose associated with any official function or enterprise of the tribe unless such use has been authorized by resolution of the tribal council. The authorizing resolution shall identify whether profits derived from the sale of merchandise or other commercial use of the tribal seal in any form shall be accounted for and turned over to the general fund of the tribe. B. Use in connection with private commercial activities. No faxes, reproductions, or impressions of the tribal seal, with or without the wording associated with the tribal seal, shall be used for personal gain or profit, including merchandise offered for sale or for any other commercial purpose, unless such use has been specifically authorized by resolution of the tribal council. Limited personal use of tribal seal by the tribal members is permitted. Nothing in this ordinance shall prohibit any tribal member from making or having made a fax, reproduction, or impression of the tribal seal made for his or her personal use or as a gift to another tribal member, provided that nothing in this subsection 3.5 shall authorize any person to use the tribal seal in any manner otherwise prohibited in this ordinance. Secretary of the Tribal Council, custodial and other duties. The Secretary of the Tribal Council shall have custody of the tribal seal. Copies of all records and papers in the Secretary's office, certified by the Secretary and authenticated by the tribal seal, shall be evidence in all cases equally and with the like effect as the originals. Use in connection with the electronic images. Nothing in this ordinance shall prohibit any tribal member from obtaining or distributing electronic photographs which contain the tribal seal, providing that nothing in this section shall authorize any person to use the electronic photographed tribal seal in any manner otherwise prohibited in this ordinance. The last section, section 4, enforcement. Jurisdiction. The tribal court shall have jurisdiction over violations of this ordinance, provided that this section shall not be construed or applied to prevent the tribal council from seeking relief in any other court of competent jurisdiction in its sole discretion pursuant to section 4.4 of this ordinance. Civil offenses, penalties. Any person who violates this ordinance shall be liable for civil fine not to exceed $5,000 for each violation thereof. The amount of any such civil fine may be recovered in a civil action in the tribal court. All fines recovered shall be deposited in the general fund of the tribe. In enforcing the civil infraction provisions of this ordinance, the tribal prosecutor shall proceed in the name of the tribe against a person for violation of such provision by civil complaint. The tribal prosecutor in such action shall have the burden of showing by preponderance of evidence that such person violated the provision of this ordinance. Civil forfeiture. All property bearing faxes, reproductions, or impressions of the tribal seal produced or manufactured in violation of this ordinance, or monies derived from the sale of such property, shall be subject to the seizure by the order of the tribal court. Additional remedies. The tribal council may seek penalties and injunctive relief provided by any applicable governing law for the improper use of the tribal seal. The recovery of a civil fine pursuant to section 4.2 of this ordinance shall not bar or affect the recovery of another fine, judgment, penalty,